I want to introduce a little bit. In this table must be Laurent Lévesque. Laurent Lévesque is not here because of health problems. He must to be online. But I want to introduce a little bit his piece because you understand why there is Christian and there is Laurent. So this table is about the botanics, and the piece of Laurent Lévesque is a research that he made it in the video games from 1997 till 2017. He has been catching plants on the video games, and he has built an installation that you will saw in La Rápita in Matadero, in a program that we realized that because Laurent Lévesque, Moi Multi, y Magali Beben y Laura Gonçalves, it's a focus that we created, Focus Quebec, because Catalonia and Quebec has a relationship for 25 years. So every year we try in Eufònic to present a collaboration with Montreal. One year was La Sata, Betalbaje, Corral. Another year was some people, La Serre, Daniel Levelle Dance, connected on Zoom. And this year there is these two installations and a festival. So I let you with Antònia, Christian. Sorry for my English, but I'm not taking too much.
Bon dia. Tu que vas estar, de peu o sentat? Tu estaràs de peu. Doncs vinga. Si estàs de peu, posem-nos de peu. We were just deciding about the choreography, whether to be standing up or sitting down. So, good morning, everyone. It's so very nice. És fantàstic de veure-us una altra vegada més a Eufònic, però bon dia. Que guai. I és molt guai estar avui aquí amb el Christian Alonso, que ell és comissari, entre altres coses. Des de fa molt poquet és director de la Panera, que és un centre d'art a Lleida, cosa que a mi em fa feliç que algú del territori dirigeixi la institució d'art contemporani del territori. Això sempre està bé. I des de l'any passat, aquí a Eufònic, que normalment parlem de moltes coses, l'Eufònic Pro toca moltes tecles, pot tocar tecles de música, toca tecles de tecnologia, d'arts visuals. Ara teníem el Pau parlant-nos dels NFTs, cosa que vam començar a parlar fa 2 anys. O sigui, crec que vam ser prou pioners en estar atents en què és el que està passant. I des de fa un parell d'anys també incloem a la conversa, sobretot perquè estem en un espai, en un territori en el que lo rural conversa amb lo natural tota l'estona i lo urbà amb lo rural i amb lo natural. I dins d'aquesta conversa creiem que és pertinent presentar el treball del Christian, que podria inserir-se fàcilment amb el que es diu BIOART, però segurament són moltes més coses. I jo estava pensant, que ho fem això? In English?
It's fine.
It's fine in English? Is it okay in English so everybody can follow? And so I can change. In the latest years, even though BioArt has been around for many long times, and there are people like Christian that find that in growing things and in working with other beings that live with us on the planet, it's a way of making art. And I was going to say building, but I guess it's a growing art. It grows, right?
Why not?
It grows. It's art that grows. It has existed for a long time, but perhaps in the last years has become more prominent. And I have certain theories about it that we can debate if you want. And I guess that one of the theories is the, of course, climate emergency. Like when all the resources of the planet possibly will extinguish and we are in a really bad place, we suddenly turned our attention to these resources of the planet that are alive, that are growing, that have an intelligence, that they feel things, and that we can work with these other beings. I guess that other reason is that we are in the era of digital technology and artificial intelligence. And in order to work with artificial intelligence, we first have to know what human intelligence is and what is intelligence in the natural world and how systems work in nature in order to develop synthetic systems or artificial systems or artificial ecosystems and other things. So I guess that all these things have brought to the forefront BIOART, which has been around for a long time. And also to say more nice things about Christian. This past winter, he had an exhibition in Barcelona in a church from the, I think it's the 17th century.
The 12th.
12th century.
It was built from the 12th to the 15th,
Yeah.
something like this.
Something like that. It's a church which is made of stone. It's dark and humid. It's not the best place to grow plants, that they need the humidity for sure, but they need the light. And he built a fantastic garden, which grew and changed over the months that the exhibition was open. And he's going to talk about that, and I am very happy that he does. So after all this speech is done, the ideas that I've thrown, you can say, Antònia, you are not right, and we can talk about it later. I would love to the exchange. And also, we can talk about it later with Christian. So, with further ado, I love talking, but the turn to talk this time is his. So, please join hands together for Christian Alonso.
Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation. And I'm just going to go to the point. And yeah, first of all, I just wanted to say that I'm very happy to be here. It's been a long time that I've never visited Tortosa before. And I'm very happy to be because of this excuse, let's say, Eufònic in that case. So we just arrived this morning from Lleida with Ferran, a very good friend of mine and an artist who also participated in the exhibition that I'm going to talk about today. And yeah, I'm just super happy to be here and share what I do with you all, and also having the opportunity to spend 2 days, 3 days, whatever, with you all. And I hope we can talk and exchange, and this, because this is what is all about actually also. So the title of my talk, it's going to be a very brief presentation, because I hope we can engage in conversation after my presentation. It's called Botanical Occupations and Expanded Farmings. And yeah, mainly what I'm going to talk about is it's an artwork that was part of this exhibition titled Multi-Species Imaginaries, that was on from February to April 2022 at the La Capella Art Center in Barcelona downtown. This exhibition project was selected in an art call that is called Barcelona Producció. Anyway, so just to give you a little bit of context. So, and again, what I'm going to talk about, it's one project that it was a huge project that was at the same time an artistic project, but also like a sort of installation that kind of occupied and invaded the whole like exhibition space. And that was on purpose, of course. So I'm just gonna go give you yeah, I'm just gonna start talking about the exhibition itself. Multi-Species Imaginaries was a curatorial research project that tried to give a response to the current environmental and social unsustainability by inviting us to imagine communities where humans are not separated from the environment, but maintain a constitutive relation and a consequential implication with a wider world, in a world where not only humans live, of course. Communities, so the exhibition was trying to invite us to think and to come up and to imagine and to fabulate communities where humans do not occupy hegemonic, hierarchical and violent position in the world. Artists immerse themselves into the worlds of plants, animals, fungi, but also technobodies, but they bear witness of the fact that we maintain a a contingent relationship with other beings. What does a contingency mean? It means that nothing is pre-written, nothing is like expected. So it can be this relationship with the other ways of being. It can be both lethal and vital, both destructive and germinative or productive. And this is clearly true now in the context of climate change, soil erosion, but also the precarization of life. So it, again, is not only like environmental or natural ecology, but also like social ecology, of course. Rather than asserting or like standing for multi-species or species mingling, the thesis of the exhibition was that these contingent and close interdependencies of humans with other beings, they entail and they demand that we deeply transformed our ways of being, acting, feeling, and thinking, of course. No? So the exhibition project, I'm just going to close this section now, gathered 8 newly produced projects and 3 already produced projects. So it was a huge endeavor, what we did, really. And the exhibition itself was rooted in the ecologies of the Llobregat River Delta. Because I think that all the exhibitions that, I mean, in my opinion, all the exhibitions need to root in the local scene, in the territory where they stand. But especially exhibitions that talk about ecology, nature, sustainability, whatever. So our, let's say, our way of rooting and connecting with the territory was establishing a relationship of all the projects, pretty much all the projects with this with a river delta that is called Llobregat River Delta, and this is basically this kind of almond-like shape river delta that it's super close to the Barcelona city, and it's where the airport lies, actually. It's a wetland, it's a very rich and very fragile wetland ecosystem that it's been really degraded in the last decades because of the model of neoliberal model of Barcelona metropolitan area, and because of the untimely expansions of the airport, of the many infrastructures, not only the port but the seaport, and many other like buildings, soil, impermeabilization, and many other things. So one might say that Barcelona has a very parasitic relationship with this delta. So yeah, with this exhibition, we try to establish this. We try to really root and establish a connection with this very fragile and very rich ecosystem, and try to think ethical, let's say, materially interdependent and ethical modes of being. Right. So this is a picture that you see the main entrance of this La Capella Art Center, which, as Antònia said, it's a very old Gothic, it's Romanesque Gothic church that was built for many centuries. And since 1992, it's an art center, contemporary art center. And basically, yeah, they organize individual exhibitions, collective exhibitions. It's very interesting art cult. I encourage you to see. But indeed, it was very challenging, the space, right? So we spent a fair amount of time trying to solve this kind of the presence and the personality of the stone. I was very, like, I've seen many exhibitions in La Capella where all the like many things are hanged in the wall, and for me that was a very missed opportunity, because then when I see like something hanging in the wall in this very like rich textured stone, I look at the stone. I don't look at the paintings or the pictures. And it has happened many times that there's some sculptures hanged or like installed in the wall, and then the wall absorbs, and you know, the artwork. So for me, really was a very challenging, but also like very important to kind of try to negotiate with the space itself, the conditions of existence as well. So what I'm going to talk about is mainly, I'm just going to center my my talk about on on this art project by artist and gardener Vicky Benitez, who has been who worked as a gardener for 12 years at the Municipal Gardening Center of Barcelona and the surroundings. But also she studied fine arts, and she's been a very prolific artist as well, working with video, but also like working with matter, organic matter, gardens. This is what she does. And so I'm just going to talk about this art project that was called Garden of Exotic Invasive Species, which was rooted and connected to the Llobregat River Delta. Sorry, this is very small, but I'm just telling it to you. So basically the garden occupied the central space of the exhibition, and there were 3 mountains with the shape of the snake, one might say, and but there were also like other mountains spread and scattered across the exhibition space. So basically what Vicky Benitez does is that she has a very specific line of research in her work that departs from studying, analyzing a report that is called Spanish Catalog of Invasive Exotic Species. And this is a very detailed report where that establishes the legal framework for managing, but also eradicating and control species that are considered for this report, for this administrative legal report, they are considered invasive. So this is a very problematic document because it's not a scientific document, but it is an administrative document that it doesn't even though it's not scientifically informed, and it has an impact, a clear impact on the ecologists, because this report obliges gardeners and municipalities to select, control, and eradicate certain species, right? So, and why is this report problematic? Because, for instance, this document establishes, it says that certain species, why is problematic? Sorry, I'm just gonna rewind. This report is problematic because it imagines a nature separated from humans. It says that there are certain species that are threatening other species. So the threatening species is considered to be invasive, and the threatened species are local, are native. So it establishes a separation, right? So it imagines a world where humans are completely separated and dislocated and isolated from the ecologies. And basically, it says that that these species started, these so-called invasive species, started to arrive to Europe, to Spain, when the Americas were discovered. So first we have this kind of connection already with like a post-colonial, one might say, like a colonialist link. Another thing is that they say that this species, it threatens the genetic pureness of the local and native species. And it's very problematic for many different things, because among other things, this report, nowhere in this report it is said, for instance, that climate change, for instance, is a major force that exceeds the power of these so-called invasive species on ecosystems. Nowhere in this report is it said that that these species, that other native and local species pose problems to other local species, for instance. So it's very selective, right, this report. So I'm just going to pass these pictures and you can see how these plants were installed. And basically the idea of Vicky Benitez was to create, let's say, a garden that was resignified as a camp refugee plant, un campament de plantes refugiades, no? A plant refugee camp, that to kind of see that kind of provide and foster and facilitate this kind of relationship of care towards these species that are being criminalized by this report, where it's very like limiting and very selective and for many different reasons. So you can see now here the first mountain, and you can see how we install these very they are technical lights for growing lamps that we I managed to get these lamps for free of this marijuana shopping like shop growing. They sell seeds, they sell technical equipment. They were very happy to have their logo next to the Barcelona municipality logo, and so that's the reason why I'm going to have a long-standing collaboration with them in the upcoming years. So. In the beginning, I will show you pictures afterwards of how it changed over the months, because the exhibition was 3 months, and indeed it was a very powerful impact how it started and how it ended. We needed 30 tons of soil, a kind of soil that it's being used in urban gardening. It's a very like arid soil that is not. I mean, yeah, it works. And then we installed these 30 tons of soil, which was very complex. Imagine to come up with this trail in this stone. It was really complex. The whole setup itself, it deserved a documentary or something of this, how we did that. And then we installed these lamps, and we planted seeds, and so you will see the evolution afterwards. And so one of my goals was to really like to not hang anything in the walls. So you see all the video pieces just like standing in the pavement. You can see here all of the plants are considered to be so-called invasive. This is another problematic thing because you have to say alloctonous or non-native. So, and this insistence of using this word invasive is very problematic as well. So you can see here all the plants were taken, although there's a connection with the Llobregat River Delta, all the plants were not taken from the Delta but from Collserola. And we had the permission granted by the Department of Urban Ecology. No, I think it was some department of the municipality. So it was amazing to have this permission, because we could go with steel plants, of course we were supervised at all times, but anyway, but all the plants that we forage, that we took from the mountain, from this Collserola mountain, are plants that are considered to be now the latest arrivals or the latest beings in the Llobregat River Delta, potentially threatening beings, and these so-called invasive species. So you see another view that's from the other extreme in the central room. You see details now of these Cortaderias ailanthus. You might recognize this plant. These plants are part of the Mediterranean landscape, and they have been so for not only for decades but for centuries. Actually, what Vicky Benitez does is not only gardens. So she does workshops on plant identification, not only of invasive species but also of like wild plants, for instance, and to try to like know what the problematic is very complex. It's not a simple issue. It's not a simple thing. Of course, there are some plants that are posing problems to other plants, but we have to have the wider picture. Otherwise, it gets very narrow and very limiting and very. We also used and installed just a pool, a little pool with the plant that in Catalan it's called lentilla d'aigua, like lentils, water lentil. And this plant grows very easily in canals, for instance, in places where you can see, if you see this plant in, for instance, in concrete canals, clearly you look around and you might see agricultural plots, orchards, whatever, and this is a sign that they overuse and they make use of fertilizers. So if you see this plant, for instance, in a concrete canal, clearly there's being a dumping somehow of nutrients, and when there's an excess of nutrients in water, this plant grows as we did. And in a delta, in El Prat, for instance, there are many canals where you can see this plant. So you see other details of fragments of this exhibition of these plants. You can see now the lamps were on for 18 hours a day. And that's the reason why all the plants started to grow. Of course, we asked not only gardeners, but also biologists. So it was scientifically informed as well, the project. Otherwise, the plants, because you remember in the beginning, when for the opening, everything was kind of brown and kind of sad. Not even myself, I was 100% sure that it will come out as green, actually. But 18 hours was worth it. Tradescantias, you might recognize it, very familiar, this plant to us. It's considered to be also an invasive plant. In this report, it's not only stated the plants, but also birds like cotorras, this kind of green parrot as well. It's considered to be invasive species. Vicky Benitez, the artist and the gardener, when she was working as a gardener at the municipal center, she was forced to destroy the gardens of these green parrots, for instance. This is a strategy of control of population control. You see a picture of how the plants were blooming, right? So that was a big success. Everybody was, and also, of course, some interactions with the local inhabitants of La Capella. La Capella, it's again, it's a Gothic church that is inhabited by spiders itself. So it was very nice to see how the spiders easily started to generate spider webs. And at first, the cleaning service tried to destroy them all, as they do normally in the white cube contemporary art space. But we say, please don't, because that added another layer of, let's say, species interaction. So you see all this, there were many, I was counting 30, 40, and growing number. You can see there were rather huge spiders that were in. This is of course, snails. I don't really know. I think I kind of have I suspect from where it came from, but later I'm going to show you. But we had snails. I was very proud of a snail. We coming from Lleida, like Roc and also Ferran. We eat tons of snails. I don't like them anymore. I like to take care of them, but they're very interesting. It's interesting species. And Antònia as well. She's from there. Sorry. You can see the blooming of the cacti. It was really like I don't know, very striking, powerful, imaginary. All this, you know, like the flowers of cacti are very nice. Different alien species. How, I don't know if it's a spider or other insects were wrapping all these plants with this spider web. Viruses, plants being infested by viruses as well. This came with the virus itself. There's a specific, some biologists told us. And also these little white insects that were parasiting, not a parasite species. So it's like a meta, let's say, invasive species. And this is me watering the plants. We had to water almost every day, 60 liters of water, so 20 liters in each, at least 20 liters in each mountain. And we had to coordinate ourselves because, of course, it's not because of only the light that the plants were blooming and the grass was growing, but it was also thanks to our implication and dedication, not only myself, but of course the people who gave the welcome to the, you know, to the publics at La Capella, Judith, Nuria, but also the Vicky, of course, and the son of Vicky, who came every Wednesday to water the plants. Otherwise, it would have been impossible. And this is another, let's say, it transforms the way we relate to the exhibition space. Is this considered to be an exhibition space? I don't know. I have my doubts. You see now the change, the contrasts of how it started on the 3rd of February at the end of July. This was 2 days before the closure, I think. So you can see really like, these are agaves. There are many agaves, there are thousands of agaves. One kind of agave is where the tequila it's being distilled, of course, and in Spain we use those agaves to get fibers and to produce textile fabric from the fibras bastas, they call it. So again, we have an interest in those plants, but it's very utilitarian. This is another image of how it changed over time. Also, like cañas. Canes, I don't know the name in English, but las cañas, what we use for agriculture, is considered to be an invasive species, and this legal report prohibits the reproduction, the introduction, and the selling, exchanging of those plants, actually. So you can get fined if you take. We could get fined, but this was an artistic project, so we kind of had this kind of excuse, this kind of immunity to do whatever we want. This is what you have with art, I guess, and this is nice. But I think the most striking and difference, contrast was the last mountain. You can see here the ailanthus, that was just like a brown stick, and the reason why this grew in 3 months is because we had these trees 1 month before the exhibition opening. We had this in another room in this art center for 1 month with a lamp and with soil, and we were using rooting stimulator. This is kind of fertilizer. It was natural, but again, it's not like exhibition space that we start, we close, nothing has happened. No, it's like. Also, in time, it transforms the temporalities, of this. So again, it's specialities, temporalities, corporalities, and this is what was the exhibition about, actually. So I think the snails came from here. This was next to the main exhibition space. There's a small room where it's called Spy Index, where it's a little exhibition of all the projects that has been selected in the art call of that particular year. So we contributed with a portion of the garden many months before the exhibition, and we called it Terrarium of Exotic Invasive Species. And I think the snails came from this terrarium, but that means that the snails went out of this terrarium and went slowly at night, of course, when nobody was looking at them, to the huge garden. So, oh man, yes, yeah. I think I'm just gonna finish here. What's the time? Is that okay? Or yes, okay. So you have an idea of. Yeah, I just wanted to say that to kind of establish a relationship with the project of Lévesque, our point of departure was a diagnosis of the conditions of existence. We live in a globally interconnected, technologically mediated world, and technology actually can give us a glimpse of a more tangible relationship, or a tangible sensation of how are we inextricably entangled with a wider world. For instance, prosthetics, bionic prosthetics, technologies of sexual reproduction, DNA editing provides bear witness of the fact that we are even though these our fantasies of anthropocentrism denies this, that we are intimately interconnected with the world, the technology actually, and we consider techno-bodies also as a way of interacting with rubbish, technological rubbish, and also. So I'm just going to finish here, and we can engage in conversation.
And also, well, first of all,
thanks.
Is my mic? Yes. I wanted to say that maybe this is a little bit freaky, and most probably something spontaneous, that I see also a relationship in how many, especially free software communities in technology, kind of work in a similar way to nature, as in kind of supporting more collaboration instead of competition. And I don't know, I think that it's something that it happened organically, but it's like this. I see like many, many similarities in how certain areas and certain communities in technology work in respect to nature. So, do you have any questions for Christian? Preguntes pel Christian. Sí, lo Pau. Espera, que te dono el micro, així tots m'ho enterem.
Bueno, faig la pregunta en anglès per continuar. So, Christian, one thing that usually happens with exhibitions is people go on the opening day, or they just go once and they consider the exhibition is seen, I won't come back anymore. But with this exhibition, there is a process. So I was wondering, what is your experience if people came back to see the evolution of the plants, if you on your side did something to bring people back or to generate a bit more this connection to the exhibition?
Thanks for your question. Do we want to gather other questions, or I give a response? I answer. So for me, it was a very, wow, this year I almost had a mental breakdown, to be honest, because I had my job in Lleida, I had my job in Sabadell, all of a sudden I had this exhibition to take care of, and it's not a white cube contemporary exhibition. I had to be there, my body needed to be there. At least 3 days of a week. These were the days that I was living in Barcelona, so I had to be there, and I was the one who was watering the plants most, because I had the availability, because I wanted to, and so I really managed. I got the chance to spend a lot of time in the exhibition space, and in this time I saw how many people. I think this was one of the most seen exhibitions of La Capella Art Center ever since it was opened in 1992, or so they said, based on the records that they have. And I could see that because people passing by Hospital Street were super like struck and captured by this lighting, the plants. What is going on, in this kind of Gothic church? So they were kind of dragged inside, and they just realized how. Yeah, they were amazed, and they didn't know what was going on. And I think that was a nice strategy also to drag them inside. And I also did another strategy. I removed all the how is it called, cartelas? Exactly, labels. And I did it on purpose to kind of stress that the importance was on relationships and not towards this kind of segmentation. Of course, we provided a very extensive document. It was a 15 pages leaflet it had the introduction of the exhibition, detailed, extended descriptions of all the projects, some ground floor infographies, and what else? And the calendar of all the activities. We did 8, and also the description of these activities. So the visitors could orient themselves. But anyway, to respond to your questions, yes, I saw many users, I like to call them, who were mostly neighbors, many people who never entered the exhibition space, people entering with wheelchairs, many people entering with wheelchairs, because also again, we wanted to make sure that all the corporalities could experience the artwork. So that's one of the reasons why we put all the screens in the floor. So for instance, kids, we never think about kids. Why the paintings need to be hung at 150 centimeters? Why? is where this is written. Like, but we kind of continue to follow the same things by inertia, but we don't question why is this happening. So so many people thought that this was of course a process-oriented art exhibition. So many people came constantly and regularly to see the evolution of the many teachers also who are working in the schools of the let's say the Raval, the neighborhood, with kids as well. I've never done so many guided tours in my life, to be honest, but I think it was for a reason, actually.
And also I think that there was like a platform not to remove the exhibition and to keep it.
There was a civic initiative to keep this and to. It was crazy. Yeah, many people, and I was like, okay, you start the initiative, let's collect some signatures, and you do it, I'm gonna sign. But again, at the end of the day, it's an art center and needs to have this programming, and now even they have more spaces to fill with some other exhibitions. So, but it would have been nice to imagine because the exhibition space is very present. You see all the wooden. This is very challenging, to be honest. But so imagine to have the permanent garden. I mean, the artists will kill themselves.
Also, it's a neighborhood. I live in the neighborhood. It's a neighborhood where there are not many green spaces. Like there are not many streets with trees. That's like only one park. And so I guess that people would appreciate a lot the fact that there was some nature, even if indoor nature in the neighborhood. And I wanted to ask you, what did you do with the plants when everything was removed?
So we had a deal with an organization, an association who was working in L'Hospitalet, in a neighborhood in L'Hospitalet, which is the most densely populated neighborhood in Europe. It's called La Florida, and the association is called Contorno Urbano. And basically we had a deal with them because they had one dream. We did workshops because I'm part of a research group that is called Working Group on the Hybrid Ecologies of the Llobregat River Delta, and where Ferran Lega is also part of it. He's a very prolific sound artist. And anyway, so we did workshops with this group, with this association in La Florida, working with kids, with many different other collectives. So they had this dream of installing and creating our urban garden in this very anthropized space that they have by the rail path, whatever, like by the train tracks. And so, yeah, we offer them not only the plants, but also the soil. So we had to pack all these 30 tons of soil back into these flexible containers, of course, with all the machines, which was a mess. And it was all super coordinated, but it was a huge endeavor, really complex. And so all the soil and all the plants were just taken to La Florida, and actually they are building the garden now. But some plants were mine, so I took them back. See, and also of Vicky and some other friends. Yes.
So the plants returned to their home.
Yes, and also there were some people who asked for little cuttings, so we gave them, and some other people came with other plants to leave them here. We had technological rubbish just behind, and people just came with their electronic appliances who were not working to just leave them there. We're taking the work of the residues plant, treatment plant, whatever. But yeah.
So Ruby has approached, has sneaked in the room, and he made me like the sign, which means that we are out of time. And I think that it's now coffee time. So thank you very much. Gràcies a tots per escoltar. Cafè i ens veiem en una estona. Merci.